There are three pieces of live streaming gear that are essential to my process that sit right here on this 70-inch desk. The first being the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Extreme, the second being the Elgato Stream Deck, and the third is the Xstreambay 3D printed stand. Now, in this video, I interviewed the man behind the stand. One of the essential parts of my process is because of him. So I want you guys to enjoy this video as we talk about live streaming production and then also the thought process of developing this Blackmagic ATEM Mini stand. And check out this video and I hope you enjoy it. How's it going, sir? I get to connect with
Awesome.
you in like a real time setting. We get to talk for real, not just through
Uh,
Facebook, man. How's it
I
going?
know. I love talking to famous people, Monty, and it's just fun. Yeah, you talking me up so much, and here we are sitting with all these people tuning into not me, they're tuning into you, dude. You're the one they come to see, and there's a good reason behind it
Hey,
because you
I,
got so much great tech knowledge in you.
I hyped you up this week. I hyped you up this week. I hype you up. I hype you up more than you realize because like you are an
Wow.
essential part of like my process. And I literally, because I'm going to, make another YouTube video thanks to you. And I talked about in the intro of my video, like an essential part of what I use. Like, and there's some pieces that I can't like imagine myself not using. And like you've developed something, we'll get to it, that like I use all the time. Danny, can you
Yeah.
like introduce you because you got a whole tech thing going on? So y'all, this is a
Oh,
tech guy too. So Danny, introduce
well,
yourself. Let people know what it is that you do.
well,
Yeah,
I'm a guy. I grew up in Oklahoma. I'm just a simple man with a whole lot of ambition to keep going. And my wife has been trying to figure me out for 32 years. I can't even figure myself out. But I can say this that I do not like piddling around. And for the reason that being, I tend to make my own solutions. And, when I make my own solutions, then I'll be out in the industry using them. And somebody will say, hey, where'd you get that? And I'm not bragging, but when I make a solution, I make it just for me, right? Okay. And when I do that, I like it pretty nice. So it's happened to me a few times where I'll develop these different tools for video production or live streaming or anything, and a number of other things, and people will want them. So that ended up being kind of how you and I met. Is you like my product? I said, what the heck? I'll send one to him because he's a pretty cool guy, and then it's history from there. But my history, I'll just do this really quick. Started out in college, didn't get through college because I'm not that kind of a guy. I don't have that kind of brains, but hands on, I'm really good. And so I got into television. I was a commercial photographer. I ended up being a headline news anchor for only a year and said, forget that. I can't handle this fake news. And we won't get into that one, but it just developed through the years to where I actually touched 3D or printing. I got into 3D printing, all kinds of stuff. So I'm an agitated, irritated, frustrated man most of the time because I keep getting into stuff I don't know how to do. But at the time I get it done, I know how to do it. I just wore out. So that's me all wrapped up in a snowball, and you got it.
yeah. I love Danny. I had went to your website and everything, your production website, and like kind of checked out everything you do over there. Like you have done a lot of cool stuff, and you know. It, Walk me through something you've done that's like pretty cool. Let these people know like you've been in this video space for a while, so you're no rookie to this.
Dude, I'm just about 60 years old. I'm still not a grandpa. What's wrong with that? But anyhow, yeah, I've been in it so long that who would have thought that, just by being a doggone camera guy and producer, you would end up finding yourself on all sides of the earth. And it's where I've been. I literally have been in Africa, New Zealand, Alaska, you name it. I have been there, and I've been in buildings that the military says do not exist. I've had people tell me, do not talk about this, sir. It's been a strange career, but it's been very exciting too at times. And, one of the most exciting moments was when I got a job to videotape us blowing up a bus. And that was about the time, what was it? Mythbusters was really big time. So
Okay,
I
yep.
ended up having to consult with those guys just to figure out how to capture all that footage. And we ended up building a bunker, sticking an $85,000 camera inside the bunker, shooting the lens out of a tube in the side of the hill toward a bus, and we ended up blowing that sucker up. And the footage that resulted, I shot 10,000 frames a second at 1/5 millionth of a second shutter speed, which rendered footage that made me shiver. It was amazing. So
Wow.
that's the craziest.
That's wild. Like I would love to like see that bigger scale production because I got into this live streaming and video thing. I started off from a local church, so I got into video that way because I didn't want to be like on the choir. You're not gonna put me in a stage play, none of that stuff. Get
Yeah,
me like behind the camera, let me do something with my hands. And it kind of grew
sure.
from like learning like live streaming in like a production environment, but it was like in a closed environment where I saw the same thing all the time. So you start repeating
Yeah.
the processes and implementing those processes, make things a little
Yeah.
bit better. But I definitely have liked the fact that I've been able to kind of get outside of the walls, and what you have done and like that story alone is stuff like I kind of want to do more of, is just to see the video and you capture these moments. And then I even look at TV and commercials differently, like ever since I kind of got into video. And
Oh, yeah.
to kind of kind of hear that story kind of makes me think about like those people behind the camera lens. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You almost get runt with when you first get into this business, because you go from watching a movie to watching every glitch, every bad camera move, and all that stuff, and then you can't watch a movie and enjoy it. I remember those days, and it happened for a long time after I started it. But finally, I'm into the mode to where I can actually look objectively at a project, step back, feel it, that kind of thing. And so it's something I think we all go through. We step into this business, we start seeing TV commercials for what they are, manipulative little things they are, and then we start to evaluate how can we do the same thing, or how can we apply it to what we're doing now, the streaming, because in the evolution of everything is marketing. And
Hmm.
if you don't have that piece in your business, you're just not going to succeed in a way that is going to keep you going for long term.
Yeah, and video is so important. Now like we were talking before we got on live, and I was just kind of sharing with just kind of just putting content on YouTube, just video content, and it just propels like your message so much further than you could even imagine. And it's like you could have a skill set or anything, but until people see it in some form, like people like yourself are the people that put it in front of millions and millions of people. And I just remember like one of the videos I did just took off, and you just see comments from people all around the world, and you just don't even think about like,
Yeah.
man, this is more than just the other person on the other side of the lens. Like this person is like everywhere on the
Yeah.
other side of the lens. And I think that's just pretty incredible.
You are indeed an influencer, a worldwide influencer. Isn't that the weirdest thing to think about?
Yeah.
2 years ago, you said 2020, you started this stuff, and suddenly you have influence around the world. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of influencer, I kind of I influence people to come to your store a lot. I try to send people to good places, and I didn't realize, Danny, that I would make you a harder working man.
That's the first thing that came into my mind. Because yeah, I was happy doing video, and I did have another product that I make, but I didn't market it either, so it was just like it would sell every once in a while. But my goodness, you have definitely driven business my way, and now I have many of these silly 3D printers that I have to constantly breathe the stuff. I got to buy. It's it is a rocking business. I can tell you that. It's just I do like my videos, so I told my wife, I said, I can't keep working 30 hours a day. All right. I got to get some people. So we're getting ready to make that happen. And I'm actually buying some larger format printers too, because there's a certain amount of assembly goes into these things. And I'm I'm one of these perfectionists that when a product goes out, I want to make sure that it's good. So I do
Hmm.
spend more time than most people in production, just making sure that those pieces, when they come out, they're coming out and staying with you for a while.
Yeah.
I remember bouncing on one, throwing it up in the air and standing on it, and throwing it on the
I
ground.
remember a picture of you standing on it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's life cycle testing. Okay, I'm going to put about 30 years of life into this thing in a matter of 15 minutes and see if it breaks. And it didn't
Hmm.
break, and I was really happy on that. So,
Yeah. For you guys that have not seen this product right here, if you've been on my channel, you didn't seen it before, but I love devices that make live streaming easy. And so this ATEM switcher is one of these devices that allows me to just go between all these different camera angles. I got my Stream Deck, which I still need to reprogram over here. But you guys see like how it's in this console, and then I have these other monitors there. Like if you buy this ATEM device, it's separate. If you buy this Stream Deck, it's separate, and that's it. But there's just other parts of live streaming that make it easier, and being able to see all the inputs that you have makes it easy. Seeing what's going out to the live world makes it easy. And then I use this one for my laptop sometimes as well. But Danny is the man behind this Xstreambay, that is this console that allows all this to work together. Man, I love this thing, Danny, because I had a YouTube video and I almost tagged you in it, and I had to be nice because sometimes I get comments and I'm like, ugh, how do I respond to this comment? But
You mean like, hey, that's an ugly guy there, get him off?
I would have took that one.
No, that's I'm talking about me, bro. I'm not getting on you.
The comment was this, Danny. Look, watch this. He said, I would love your opinion. I actually waited for this to actually hear live. He said that when I posted the video, he said that's not a real production setup. And I was like, I was like, I took this. My client was happy. We live streamed it out. We actually did in person and shared our in-person live feed in the room. And I was like, I was able to do all of this in a much smaller setup. So is this a real production setup, Danny, or is this just some kind of like thing that I'm playing with?
I think it's a tinker toy, you know. No, you will find that when people want to make themselves feel good, they will talk down whatever it is that's in front of them so that they seem to know something more than you do. And it's a constant thing on the internet. You know, it's just one of those things that you almost go, yeah, it's going to happen. You know, you never get worried about it. You just kind of keep moving through it. And people, I think, you know, they read through that, you know. If a guy is going to sound that, well, let's put it this way. Those who know are going to look at him and go, stop blowing air, dude. You know, when it comes down to it, what I did is I went, you know, way back, you know, a full-on production company or system is going to be a whole trailer, right? It still is, you know, for big productions, and you have multiple people doing this and that and this and that, but you're trying to park yourself in a certain market. And if you park yourself in this market with a full-on trailer and you can't pay for that trailer, what are you doing? You're going out of business really quick. So what I was doing, and I've been in business for 36 years. Yeah, 36 years. It's crazy. And so I've learned the hard way that you have to look at your numbers. You have to look at profitability, and you have to look at that market that you're going after. Okay, where, you know, you break it down so small as to think of it like fishing. All right. You know, what pond are your fish in? You know, you locate them. Then you figure out what kind of bait they want. And, you know, it goes on and on. And so when I'm looking at the pond that we're in right now, you know, there's a fair amount of money there, but it's not that full-on production vehicle that we're going for, right? I mean, your market's probably different than mine, but I recently did a thing to where I had to go in and videotape musicians singing on a stage, and I wanted it to look wow factor. Well, my system with the 3-up monitors and everything right there in front of me, plus I can roll this thing. And what I did is I put the whole thing together, put it in a box, and put it in a cart. I don't have to wire that. I used to take 4 or 5 hours wiring this stupid stuff. So now I roll it into a venue. I'm ready in maybe an hour or so. We do the process. I'm able to charge what they can afford. They can pay me what makes me really happy, and the job gets done really, really well. And I did that job there. I did it as a one-man band. So it just goes to show that you know, sometimes if your market can't meet you where the money should be, you meet them where the money should be, and they can afford it. And that process right there as a one-man band, they were overwhelmingly happy with what I did. So you get what I'm saying there, you know. And Monty, you're a smart guy. I've watched you, I've heard you talk. Actually, since I've talked to you here just in the last 20 minutes, I'm realizing you're even smarter than I thought.
You're cooler than I thought. I'm like, man, this guy, he took something that so many people are going to buy and invest in for, you know, video, getting started with video, and like it makes it so easy. And I think, you know, for someone like me, like you said, like the market that I go after, or that it comes to me really now, it's okay, I can take a whole setup and set up in no time. Like literally, boom, boom, boom. I'm set up. I'm ready to go. There's not a whole bunch of cables and wires that I'm trying to string across rooms and
Yeah.
everything. The client is happy. I'm like off in a corner. I saw you even did a setup like in a restaurant. Like you were like just off in the corner, out of sight, out of mind, and you don't have all this stuff going on that kind of takes
Yeah.
away from the
Wireless.
actual. Yeah, and we don't want to take
Yeah.
away from a client's event, because we just got everything going on. And so I think the setup
Yeah.
just makes it so easy. It's small and compact. I know I'm just like rubbing it all in, but like I literally took a 4 foot table and had a whole setup on a 4 foot table, and then still had
Yeah.
extra room for everything else. So I
Yeah,
applaud you
exactly.
for
Well,
creating this. And
they,
I think you helped sell out a whole bunch of other devices like the monitors, because I actually went on Amazon to see, because people will ask still like what type of monitors do you use with this, and the monitors are like sold out. So all the 13-inch
yeah.
monitors. I was like,
I
I don't know
messed
what
them
to
people up,
recommend.
didn't I? Yep. You know what happened? So I've got to go on there, and there's a couple other monitors that already have the adapters made, so that when we ship these things out, they're perfect for these other monitors. I have to. Well, okay. So I'm breaking news here. I've got COVID, and I've had COVID for like 3 weeks, not knowing, because I tested probably a week ago, and I still didn't have any signs of COVID, but I felt it, and then finally 4 days ago, 5 days or whatever it was, I tested and I had it. But so my energy level is going to have to return here, so I can do the things like find the other monitors and get those
Hmm.
set up, because a lot of guys want 15-inch monitors. Um, I was thinking I'm close enough to those monitors that I can monitor them, and they look awesome and they're easy to be able to see. I mean, 3K monitors, that's
Yeah,
high quality.
yeah.
But yeah, when I did this, it definitely kind of grew that market. And I'm sure that these guys, whoever it was that were selling these bongo monitors, are like, holy crap, I don't know what's going on, bro, but we got to get some more.
Yeah,
So,
because you got to buy three at a
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Anyhow,
had one of the other iterations that you have with just the ATEM and then the one monitor. When I saw this one, I was like, oh, that's the whole setup right there. I need the whole setup, and then the cables that come along with it. It was just like, okay, what is his setup? That's what I have to have.
yeah.
And so, so many of you guys that have asked me what my setup is. My setup is his setup. I just copy his setup. So you guys make sure that I'll link to all that stuff in the YouTube video so that you guys can make Danny work again some more.
Oh,
Um,
man.
when you think about, like you said earlier, you create stuff that you need. Like what what made you like say, okay, I'm going to actually sell this as well, because you create another business for yourself, right? Because we go back and forth, and
Yeah.
you kind of tell me, hey, I'm kind of swamped over here. What made you actually want to sell this to other people? Because there's a lot of devices and things out on the marketplace. I bought a 3D printer or 3D stand for my A10 specifically before, but it was like only two. It was literally two little blocks, and you just set it in there,
Yeah.
and it worked good. But I'm appreciative of people that like create these things that we kind of need. What made you actually want to sell this product?
Oh, when I was a kid, it started out then. I remember, and most of the young people are not going to know what this is. They're going to so there was a thing called the weed eater.
Hmm.
And weed eater is one of these little wire things that it spins, and you cut the edge, you edge grass and stuff like that. You see them all over the place. When I was 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that, I ended up, whoops, lost, hang on just a second. Live television, live television. When I was 6 or 7, I remember being on the back porch with my brother, and it had a little motor and a battery. And I tied this piece of wire around the motor post and started spinning. I turned it upside down and started cutting grass. And I go, Mom, I made a new lawnmower. And she goes, oh, that's nice, honey. And 10 years later, the guy came out with the official weed eater, and he made tons of money. It was really pretty amazing. So I was like, well, shoot, I could have made a ton of money, Mom. I could have retired at 7, but I didn't. And then, I kind of dropped it. I was always an inventor. I always did things because I was never happy with anything. I had to make it better. And I remember coming back from college, and my boss introduced me. I took some time off and took a job at Lowry Air Force Base, and was introduced to this fellow who made $3 million by selling a conical piece of urethane rubber to a company to make a shock for a bike. That's back when all the mountain bikes came in, and that blew me away. And I get hooked on the inventing thing. And I've done quite a few things. Some of them that have actually gone to market. Some of them has been stolen. Very few that I made any money from, because back then you just couldn't bootstrap yourself like you can today. You can't fund yourself, or like 3D printing. Before, if I didn't have 3D printing, we would have had to go on to making a mold, and that mold, I guarantee, it would have been $40,000 just to get the mold, and then you start making parts. So 3D printing has opened that up. But the reason, back to your question, why I wanted to see if I could sell this, I guess it's always been a dream of mine to have my own product. And I don't really even know why, because now that I have it, yeah, it's cool, but boy, do I work my butt off. It is extensive. So that's an answer to your question. I've just always had that dream. And to be honest with you, when I made the first little one, I just made it for the ATEM Mini.
Yeah.
The Mini Pro, that it was. And I stuck the ATEM Mini Pro in it. And then I, part of the ATEM Mini Pro user group or something, stuck it on there. And I said, time to wire this bad baby up. I was all excited. And by morning, I had sold 6 of them. So that's just kind of how it happens. And that happened with the other product that I made years ago. I actually made a dolly system because I travel all over the place. I wanted to be able to actually keep my game ahead of the other guy, because that's the only way I got to work, right? So I thought, if I could travel with a dolly, then I'm the man. I keep getting to work. So I invented one, and I was out shooting something. We were shooting a what do you call it? A viral video, to where it was a race between a LFA, that's a Lexus LFA or something like that, and a jet. And so I produced that whole video, and had that dolly out there, and the guys from LA, I think it was LA, were like, "Where'd you get that thing? I want one." And I go, "Well, sorry, dude, it's no more in my garage." And so my dad, and I've worked from LA, or some New York crews too, and they were all over it. And I told my son, he says, "Well, Dad, you ought to stick it on Kickstarter, see what it does." And I remember going, "Oh, okay." So I just followed the rules, put it on Kickstarter, and I think 2 days later, I had $27,000 in orders. It was stupid. Yeah, crazy.
I need to create a product. I'm like, let me
There
see
you
what
go.
I can create.
Monty, you are the product. Okay.
I need one of these physical products. I have no space for a 3D printer, but now I need to order a 3D printer. I just recently picked up. Let me switch some CVC. I've recently picked up this slider, and I'm like, man, this is going to be an expensive hobby sometimes, because I want to up the production value of
Oh yeah,
what I'm creating.
don't you know?
And so I picked up the slider. I'm like, I love doing this for like B-roll and all that kind of stuff, because I've done like just traditional live streaming, so it's like a 1 camera or 2 camera shot, make sure your audio sounds good, that stuff. But now it's like I'm trying to add this dimension into it, and then now creating videos for YouTube. You're trying to create tell these stories through video, and I'm like learning all this. I'm learning video. I knew live streaming, but I'm learning like video, kind of more all encompassing. And so kind of when I checked out some of the stuff on the website, I'm just like, ooh, I love the drone footage like that. It's like, I need to learn how to go fly this drone, like to tell this story. Like what part of like this whole video aspect just kind of like excites you when you wake up in the morning? Is there like a piece of gear that you like just got to have, or just like the process to going into it? What excites you about video when you kind of wake up and get started? I got you.
I'm gonna have to revert back before I got COVID, dude. I ain't excited now. I'm gonna. I think it's a challenge. And for me, it's always the final. I want to see what it looks like in the end, because I can tell you, the work is it can be extensive. I remember back when I was editing full-blown network television shows and stuff, and I've always shot network television shows, but to actually edit them was huge. The guys who'd done it for years, they take 6 weeks to do one. And I was tasked to do those suckers in 30 days. And I'm like, wow, this is killing me. So I would always look toward the end, and I would really get excited about seeing what came out of what I was doing. It sounds really weird. But the work, the getting there, I never have enjoyed that too much. Matter of fact, if I look at myself, I think I'm the laziest man in the world just simply because I never want to work, right? But that's it. The end product always drives me, and that I'll end up, my brother, he'll say, how do you do so much? And I go, dude, I'm just too stupid to realize how much work I'm getting into. That's it.
It can be a lot of work, especially that post production side of it too. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you got to put this stuff together, and if you don't have a good plan going into it, then you definitely are like, I created some
Yeah.
content earlier today, and I had shot the B-roll a couple days ago, but I just didn't get a chance to film the A-roll. And I'm thinking to
Uh-huh.
myself, okay, what did I record? What do I need to re-record? Because there were some aspects I really wanted to talk about. Did I get that on camera? Then now I got to say the audio because I'm the on-air talent and the behind-the-scenes talent. So it's like
Yeah.
pulling double duty over here. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to
Sure.
switch this up a little bit because I love the tech side of it. So it's like one of those things I don't want to get away from because I love
Yeah.
doing it. Um,
Oh, yeah.
let's jump into some like techie talk, Danny. What do you got going on in where you're sitting at right now? Are you sitting at home in the studio? Because I've seen you post on social media, and you got
Yeah.
like different setups like every time.
Well, yeah, so basically I've got this is upstairs. This is what I call my edit bay, and I have it's crazy in developing this live stream. I've actually put other things in and kind of progressed through it all. I've got a Field World Pro 1L, whatever thing it is back here, that I usually just for really limited stuff to stream through that. But what I've done is right behind my back here is a ATEM Mini Pro.
Okay.
Okay. I've got my Canon C300 $10,000 body out here, and it's actually what you're looking at, right? That's filming me right now. All it's doing is feeding video and audio right into a CCAM monitor. And if I had the second camera, I could show you this, but dude, I was freaking tired today. So anyhow, it actually loops through a monitor. So I'm looking at the monitor right now, seeing that it ain't a pretty guy on this picture, but anyhow, it comes through that monitor right over here to the ATEM Mini Pro. And from the ATEM Mini Pro, I actually take a USB-C out into my computer, and that basically turns into what they would think of as a webcam. And from there, like in what you've got here, I just chose the Blackmagic device, which is the ATEM Mini Pro, as my audio and my video device. So it's pretty darn simple. It's just a camera with a video feed going into an ATEM Mini Pro, and then the sound is actually going through this cable right back to the camera, and then it feeds back through the HDMI cable so that there's consistent delay. Because anytime you go from a cable
Yeah.
or from a camera, and you're coming back through HDMI, you're going to get like 3 frames of delay or less, and so then it comes back with the video attached, so there's no delays or anything between the video and the audio, but into that ATEM Mini Pro, into the computer, and out to the internet.
Okay. Okay. I see you got your boom on there. You got the audio mixer in the background. You got the minions
Oh,
up there. Got some decorations up there as well.
yeah. I'm kind of like one of those weird dudes, like the guys out there in Marin County where it's Industrial Light and Magic. They like to have their toys. I got my toys here. So this side's the minion. Over there's the troll from Harry Potter, and in the middle is the great big giant or whatever.
Thank you
So
guys for watching here on Amazon and YouTube. And I think I'm about to fix something on YouTube, Danny. I'm over here looking. I'm like, where's everybody at? But I'm over here checking YouTube, but I got something. What's funny is maybe there was a reason I did that, because I haven't like been repurposing my videos from my lives, and I was like, I need to start doing that. So I shot some footage, and I literally said, hey, this video, this is what we're gonna talk about, because I'm just a super fan of like your stuff. And so I actually get more views when I upload videos than when I go live. So
isn't that funny?
you're gonna be my first test of this, because like I was telling my wife this a little bit earlier. Like anytime like on video, like especially live, like you can kind of turn it and make it work in your favor. And so sometimes
Uh,
people jump on live and they'll just freeze up, or oh my gosh, this messed up or this failed. But I kind of
yeah.
like learned to really embrace things that don't quite go the way they thought they would go. And as we're live streaming, I'm talking, I'm like, why aren't my numbers where they typically are on YouTube. And I'm just like, huh, okay,
Yeah.
I still know how to do this. And some people get frustrated with video, like, oh gosh, it didn't work, and then they just go walk away. But I'm like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
like you can still use that video. And so I'm
Oh
like looking,
yeah.
and I want you guys to kind of use this as a teachable moment that are watching, like, you can still use your video. Like if you hit that record button, give it to somebody like Danny and let them put something together. Don't give it to me because I'm too busy. but like you can still use this video footage, and I'm interested to kind of see what happens, especially as things change on these platforms all the time. Um,
Hmm.
Danny, what's your favorite live streaming social media video platform, like that you either use or that you kind of use for clients or to display work or anything like that?
I hate to do this, and I hate to say this, but I think you have more information there than me by far, because what I do is a lot of time it's either Zoom, Facebook, um, or YouTube, and or Teams. So there's no one that's. I think if in all honesty, my favorite would probably be YouTube, just because there's so much more potential in reaching people in a long term. And back when they really had magazines, people were like, "Oh, you advertise in the magazine? Why?" Well, you say, "Okay, I've got 130,000 subscriptions to that magazine. Okay, that's a number there." But these things sit around in doctors' offices and different places, and they get read over and over and over through the years. So it's very similar to what we're doing right now. We create content and we place that on YouTube. There's a potential to see that over and over and over. So not only does that become a really great way for people to see and enjoy your content later, it also becomes a number for you if a sponsor was to come to you to say, okay, if I'm on Facebook, it's done and gone. It's kind of like people don't go back and they see your videos as much as they do on YouTube, because they'll search things. So when a sponsor comes to you, you can go, I have a greater value than what you perceive of just my numbers of how many people have subscribed to me, because I'm getting new subscribers. Because guess what? People are always watching those
Yep.
videos. They'll search them. They become very evergreen.
Yeah.
They live long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's been pretty cool to kind of watch not only my channel grow, but I've just watched other content creators in general. I'm rocking my guys Kurt Nugent's shirt, How It All Works, and I found him on YouTube as well. He's a content creator, and it's just been kind of cool just to see people bring video into their homes over 2020. Some people that had already been doing it, but even more exposure that they're getting by just showing up on video, going live, or just posting videos, and just
yeah.
seeing I know I spend my fair share of time just watching other videos, and like you said, I'll go back and just like watch them over again, or even if they're on platforms like Facebook, like when you do your short form videos, like you walk around the setup, like I'll sit there and I'll just be watching it because I'm just intrigued by that type of stuff. And I remember one particular one you had, I think you may have been in the living room, and you had the whole ATEM set up on like a cart, and I literally sat there. I think the video was like a minute and a half. I would go back and rewind it. I was like, what is that he's using there? Okay, that's that cable with the L bracket. Okay, where's he got that plug into? Okay, there's a UPS down there at the bottom of it. Okay, I need to add that. So I'm literally like going back and like, okay, all the stuff I need to add to my cart for like a minute and 30-second video, but I just kept watching it and watching it. And I think, when we put out content that people actually want to see, people like respect you more, if that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, because when I saw the videos, like I didn't need you to tell me my name is Danny, I've done this, this, and this, and this. Like, I
Yeah.
saw, like, yo, he knows what he's doing in that setup. And I just think video, it's so fast, it kind of let me into your world. And like, okay, yep, that's a guy I can connect with. That's a guy I'm willing to watch his videos and his contents, because I can relate to that. So I encourage people, to create videos about what you like to do. People will come and
Yeah.
gravitate to you.
Well, and so what I heard you saying is that you liked my bait. Okay, so
Yes, I like the bait. You got me on the
we were
bait.
fishing for, and it comes down to this. I'll regress here a little bit. So, man, 7 years ago, I was so sick and tired of traveling, sleeping in hotels, and on those big TV shows where we're out in the wilderness sleeping on rocks and crap. I did not enjoy that as much as I used to when I was young. So I said, I need to come home and work. I need to be home around the family. I hated traveling, although it was really cool. And so I said, what do I need to do? And this was before people established the influencers and things like that. I said, okay, there's one thing I could do. My mouth will not stop, so I could actually talk in front of people, and motivational speaker or whatever. The others, I had that product. I could sell the product, and then the video, okay? And in order to influence people with all three of those, I needed to be that guy. In other words, I needed to be, before they came up with the term, I needed to be an influencer. So that when people saw what I did on the line, they would be like, that's the guy I need to do it. But I researched, and I had been researching the social media and the power of its marketing for many, many years. And so what I ended up doing is using social media on Facebook to a point to where I became, literally, people called me a celebrity. I was putting content on there. I was putting interesting things. I would literally show them when I was out in Alaska and I got any kind of signal, I'd show them my life. And people got to the point where they just lived, they'd say, I lived vicariously through your adventures. Mm-hmm. But I also did this. I read up and studied how to to maintain an audience. And that was become their, okay, first off, it's kind of like back when I had my own TV show at one time. And so I had to learn some things. At first, when I first had somebody do the freaky thing, like, Danny Dodge, I was like, what? What? And I didn't want to be that. I've never had an ego that I needed to pat on the back from, And so I would like burst their bubbles. And a buddy of mine who worked with me at Headline News, he said, Danny, these people just got the experience of their life. They met a famous guy, right? Mm-hmm. Don't run it for them by saying, oh, I'm just this and that. He says, let them enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And so I had to learn how to do that. And I think, for some of your people out there, and like you, you're just a great guy. And I think you already know how to do this. Be real. Mm-hmm. When you're doing stuff, be real, but never pop the bubble. I still have people coming up to me let me jump back first off. The way I did my social media is everybody who would comment on anything that I did, I would personally either thank them or make a conversation with them. Mm-hmm. And that was back when the AI really appreciated that and says, right, oh, these people are not just friends, they have a relationship. And so I built up a huge audience on Facebook. And I remember that same buddy from Headline News at one point in time told me, he said, dude, do you realize what you've built? Well, that was back before sponsors realized the value of social media. I realized the value, and I was actually selling my own product and doing promotion, and I had great business because of it. But like now, Facebook is really not that valuable to me unless I pay for that advertising. But YouTube, as you've seen, your value alone as a believable, a real person who's very likable and technically savvy on how to get toys and get money, you are basically the bait in this situation. People want to be you. So now, things have changed, and I think it leaves opportunity for a lot of people. And I would say, I will never lead anyone into something that I think they're going to fail at. But it goes back to, okay, there's going to be a lot of people. I can't tell you whether you're going to do well or fail in live streaming. Right. But if you listen to people like Monty, you're going to have a huge chance of success. So get her done. Subscribe now. Okay. Yeah. And I just did the advertising thing.
You did it. Yeah. And it was authentic and real. Yeah. What you said there about like that celebrity thing. I remember this pastor had called me, and I thought he just had a follow-up question, because I did an install for his church and everything. So he had called me. I just pick up the phone, say, hey, and he was like, my son wants to talk to you. So I'm thinking, nothing of it. Okay. And he's like, are you that guy from YouTube? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I didn't believe my dad knew you. And I was just like, yeah, I'm that guy. So, but
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah.
it's like, we don't really
Yeah.
think nothing of it. It's just like, hey, I'm just putting this
No.
out there content wise. But, what you said, not bursting his bubble. And I had thought about it as I
Yeah.
was talking to him. I was like, yeah, if you got questions, let me know. But yeah, I know your dad, I've been up there and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just, was it last year, went through the airport. And I remember this guy, he just looked at me and like, he
Oh
just
my
stared.
gosh.
And I'm just like, I wonder if he knows who like as I'm all masked up and everything. But when you sit down and eat, I take the mask off, and he was sitting like a kind of across from me, a little bit further away. But he just kept like staring at me, and I was just like, does he
Uh-huh.
know me from being on social media? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
interesting. Like your audience,
Uh-huh.
people will like find you, and so it's because I walked past one guy, and, like he's a basketball player, and so I just saw him at the airport. I was like, yep, I know who that guy is, but I saw him on
Yep.
TV, I saw him on video, and you never know
Yeah.
who you can connect with through video. And it's
Oh
been
yeah.
pretty cool to kind of connect with someone like you, and someone that has like a product, where I like use it all the time, and so like I've learned how to become an influencer, and I've learned like the terms and like what people look for. But
Hmm.
I think those people, I'm going to be starting this community like for people that want to get in kind of into this influencer marketing. But one of the big parts about that for me is like you really got to love your products, because that's the easiest thing to talk about. And I literally talk about this daggone Xstreambay over and over and over and over again, because if I didn't have it, I couldn't do what I do. Like I literally have, like I was you'll like this, Dan. I was creating the content. I got to be careful how I say this. I was creating content about a device, but it's so difficult to create that piece of content because I don't have an Xstreambay to hold the monitors for it. Like I literally had to like jerry
Oh.
rig stuff around because I had to prop up the monitors to kind of show. And I'm just like, this is just taking way so too long. But like this device, for what it does, is like super easy. Here it is, all in one package. Just go and use it if you're trying to create this. And like because it's all
Yeah.
packaged together, it just makes it so easy for me to kind of like tell people, yeah,
It
just go get that.
definitely. I got. Oh, hang on just one second.
Oh, no problem. What's going
All
on,
right.
Nolan? I see you over there on YouTube.
All right. Hopefully, I got this stuff back in order here.
Okay, what you got in
I
your
got to
hand
show
there?
you this, Monty. You probably seen these things. I'm building cases and different things for other tools. And this little guy right here, you know what that is?
It's one
That
of the
is
monitors.
a YOLObox.
Oh, it's a
Okay.
YOLObox. Oh, okay.
It is. I thought, okay, cool. I know guys are kind of getting hooked on this thing, and so I'll get one and I'll build a box around, build them out for the whole thing. Holy crap. This thing, I mean, I love my ATEM and everything, and I will not go away from that. But this for certain jobs, that's an all-in-one production thing. I can't go. I'm not going to try to sell this, but Monty, you got to look into this thing. That darn baby there kicks rear end.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I know. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just like kept it my secret. But
Hey, YOLObox, send it on over here. Send it on over
yeah,
here so I
yeah.
can
Well,
check
you're
that
going to
out.
have to talk to the sponsors and say, yeah, where's my YOLO?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then I'm like, hey, Danny, I got this YOLO, and then I need a 3D case for this YOLO so I can talk about this all in one time.
Well, my wife says you better get that stupid case built, and I'm like, I got COVID. Okay, leave me alone.
Oh man, yeah, you've been a busy guy. What time we got here? Okay, let's jump into because I've been asking all my audience or my guests to give me like their top pieces of equipment, mainly so we can facilitate our Amazon Live audience, and we got to talk some equipment,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I
Uh-huh.
asked you for your top five, and the first one you gave me, which I'm a fan of because they actually sent me one, was the Hollyland Mars 400S Pro. Why is that on your list, Danny, of like your favorite gear for live streaming and video?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to plug the ear back in. What did you say again, Monty?
The Hollyland system. Why is that one of your favorite pieces of devices for live streaming and video?
Oh, well, so I kind of put mine to the limits. I always put my gear to the limits, for whatever reason. I want to test and see how far I can push things. And those guys will really extend out there. They get through. I mean, I tested mine. It got through like 3 walls and a brick wall. Barely, but it did. So it's, this, and it sends audio and video. It has a 3-frame, from what I can tell, the 3-frame latency on it, but that doesn't matter. And a lot of guys will go, well, I can't deal with that. Well, yeah, you can deal with it if you do it right. I was known for being a guy who actually pushes things to a point just to see what I could do with them and still make money. In other words, I wouldn't be spending huge amounts of money. And these, in the video world, they're not that terrible expensive. So what I did is I put 4 of these together and then tested and reconfigured and tested and found out that when I first did them, they weren't working really well. But it was my problem. I didn't have them far enough apart. So I put these guys, I can't remember, 23 inches or something like that apart, and bam, I have 3 incredible devices that just, they work really good. And there's ways, and I should probably it comes back to time, I should probably do a video on how to make them work great, because every product has its little something that might not work great if you do this, but these, if you do it right and you do them at a distance of maybe 23 inches or somewhere thereabouts, separate them, then you can run 4 of these guys as long as you turn one on, turn the other one on, turn the other one on, and you're pairing them up. They, like the other night, I did that music video, and dude, I never had a dropout in 4 hours. It was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that system. I'll demo it here when I go on Amazon Live. Sometimes people will ask about, wireless, or I'll need to maneuver around a little bit. And I took mine to an event, and first I wasn't going to use them, and then I was like, you know what? I need that extra camera shot to face the crowd. Like, I really need this crowd shot. And so I brought up the wireless system, threw it in the front of the room, and had the crowd shot, and it was pretty awesome. So I definitely like that system too.
And you don't have to worry about the latency on a shot that doesn't have those people in the audience. We're not talking, you're not going to hear them, right? But the other part is, if you have those on all cameras, and I did that night, I had them on every single camera that I had, then no camera is coming back direct. So all the latency tied with the music, the music that I basically took a feed off of the system there at the house, ran it right into the camera, fed it back with the video through the Hollylands. Well, they're coming back to the same point in time. So there's no latency. There's no difference in the speech as opposed to the video. These things, if you use them the correct way, they are tremendous tools.
Yeah. The next one I got up here that you put in there is that Blackmagic ATEM Extreme ISO. What?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask why you have it, but we've been talking about it. So why you got that?
Well, okay. So, there are reasons to have just a Mini Pro, right? If you're not doing much, if you're doing 1 or 2 cameras, if you're doing 3, and you can obviously do 4, you can do some stuff. But when you tie other devices in, like a video player, and you feed like a laptop because you want graphics and things like that, the Mini Pro Extreme, suddenly it just opens up the door. And it's only, let's say the Mini Pro, well, let's establish one thing here. So ISO means that when you're doing this and you have cameras running in, ISO is going to be recording each one of those devices if you tell it to. That's huge, because you can actually take that video, all the different videos that's recorded on a single SSD card, SSD drive, put it in your computer, and then it's all ready to edit, just like you had already structured all the videos on a timeline. It is incredible. So you can do all kinds of cleanup. Let's say I was doing the venue where I did the music, and let's say I screwed up and I switched to the wrong camera, or I double punched something and messed something up. Well, if I'm just doing a live recording, I can go back in, take all those pieces, because it's an ISO unit and it records all of each camera's individually on the same SSD drive. I can edit those, fix that, and it's like I never had any problems. So that's a huge deal. And then there's so many things about the ISO units. The Mini Pro ISO, it does the same thing. It records, but you step up from the Mini Pro ISO onto the Extreme, and you have many extra things like super sources. And then if you tie it with a companion to a Stream Deck, and let me just kind of come back a little bit. A Stream Deck is nothing more than a button box. Okay, you can punch all kinds of buttons. If you use this little intermediate program called Companion, you can actually make that thing do things to your ATEM that you couldn't do because you are not fast enough to push all the buttons. But because they have macros, and you can actually say, okay, start recording, and then you start doing all these things on your ATEM Mini Pro or ISO Extreme, then you can record all the things you did, tie them to one button on the Stream Deck, and then, like me, I'm a brainless sort of a guy. I don't have things, I can't do multitasking at all. So if I just punch a button on that Stream Deck, it does all kinds of crap, and I go, "Yeah, I'm bad off, bro." Yeah,
It's worth like taking the time, setting it up, programming it, and then boom, like I said, it's like a push of a button. When I was creating one of the videos today, one of the things I kept driving home was the fact, like, if you can make it simple, it's a lot easier just to get it done. Like versus, oh my gosh, I got to hit all these buttons. It's like, no, just do it one time, set it up the right way,
Yeah.
and just hit the button, and then it just goes live. But yeah, I love my Extreme ISO. For content creation too, if it's recording like 5 different cameras, and I'm like, man, I really wish I had camera 2 as that piece of content because it just looks better on camera 2 than it did on camera 1. Like I just go and grab that video because it's recording everything, and I think Blackmagic did a awesome job with that device. I can't wait to see what they have this coming year. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know they got something up their sleeve.
Man, we are going to go broke doing this stuff.
It's expensive hobby.
Yes.
So we talked about the Elgato Stream Deck. Let's jump over here to the last one I got on here, Mac Mini. I got one of those too. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, so computers are computers, but integrating with a live stream system, these seems to do really, really well. I have not had problems with them whatsoever. They're highly powerful, and for the money, Apple could have taken us to the store on this one and still charge huge amounts of monies, but they didn't. And so at the level that a lot of us are doing live streaming, these things just do the job. They do them really well. So that's it. There's nothing just super amazing that you have to say does this or that. It's just the whole box. It's kind of like having the best of everything.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're going to get one of the minis, what we want to do is get the 16 gig because 8 gig will get you by. But you know what? When you're working with video, there's a lot to it. And you may find after you become a little more of an expert that you're going to have multiple programs running at once. And it's always good to know that computer can handle it without having an issue.
Yeah, because they don't allow you to do any of your own upgrades in that. So I went out and I did the 16 myself. I was like, I don't want to get locked into the 8, even though it's a super powerful machine. Let me get that 16 and have that room. But when I saw your setup with it on the card, I was like, that is super clean of a setup.
That's right. If you can get it past the wife, bro, go hard.
Yeah, I got mine. So mine is like right here. So I use it because I actually had a MacBook, and I was on Team Apple for a long time with those devices. But like when it came to live streaming, what you needed to power a live stream, I was like, ooh, I don't want to pay that price for Apple. I'll just go get a Windows computer. I can max that out for a lot less than I could Apple machine. But now they've definitely come down on that price, and I was like, and then it just took off with that M1 processor. I was like, yep, this is actually a good device to invest in, especially for people that want to get started on Apple. Maybe price has been an issue, barrier to entry, but now I don't think it so much is now, where especially with that Mac Mini.
No.
Who do I got here in the chat here? Let me see. I got a question that came in off of YouTube from Nolan. It says, I'm starting up a Bible study group. I use Zoom as the platform. Do you recommend it, or would you recommend another platform? For group sessions, Zoom is always good for like internal groups. But if you want to go public, I say go YouTube. Like it's one of my favorite platforms to go public. Any like group live streaming communications, Danny, that you kind of like or suggest?
That's where I fall short, because of the style of production that I do. So I think I'd have to revert back to you, Monty, because you got a lot more knowledge on that.
Yeah, go Zoom. Zoom is popular. Look, if the congregation don't know how to get on Zoom by now, there's a problem. So everybody should know at least how to log into Zoom by now. I've got Rome over there on Amazon Live. Good to see you over there. Rome says, Hope all is well. Don't forget to stay warm. Yeah, we had some snow earlier this week and last week. And he said that he got the 16 on his MacBook Air, 16 gigs on the MacBook Air. So
That's
definitely,
good.
yeah, definitely. That's what I always recommend, especially on the Windows side too. 16. I even took my Windows computer, just boosted it up to 32, even though that gaming laptop always. I was
Oh
hoping the
wow.
fan would just like not kick on if I boosted it up to 32. It's like you have nothing to
Yeah.
touch. Like we got plenty of room, but yeah, that fan just kicks on anyway. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Oh my
Danny, I'm
goodness.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad to have you here and be able to talk to somebody that I have a lot of respect for.
Well, it goes
Be,
back the same way, buddy.
yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely love following your content on social media. Definitely am a fan of anything you 3D print. And maybe I'll need to come up with some stuff I just need 3D printed of ideas of how to like make my desk smaller. Maybe I'll just shoot you some
Yeah.
ideas of stuff. But as
Hey,
tech,
you said you're buying a 3D printer, man. Get her done.
hey, but look, that don't mean I know how to use it.
Yeah, well, All right, I'll try to do a video on that,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I need a video on. But yeah, I'm super excited to see what products come out this year, especially from Black Magic, and then
Oh yeah.
maybe we can see what else that you can create. But I think this device, and when like I said, like I sent you a picture on Instagram, and when I see other people using the device, like it like makes me happy because I just know how it has helped me. Um, like just going to an event and just taking this, packing it up small, and I can go do an event, and I don't have to like lug all this stuff, and I'm
Uh,
just like, oh my gosh, do I have
yeah.
space over here, and I got to set up, and I'm going to have to charge this client more because I'm going to need a couple more hours. So all that stuff that I don't
Yeah.
think people kind of understand, those of us that do video production, like depending on the environment, you don't need like the whole truck outside. Like we're not sending this
No.
feed to like the local news station, and even if we were, we could send this feed and we look pretty darn good doing it too. um
That's
but
right.
I love
That is
what you've
right.
created, man, and definitely a big fan of yours. I encourage you guys to follow Danny. I've got his stuff all linked up everywhere here on YouTube, and I'm going to repost this on YouTube too because I think YouTube Live was acting with me, but I'm going to see if we can make Danny work. If you guys want to check out the Center Rails website, the Xstreambay, if you have got an ATEM at all, because you make them for all of them, right, Danny? You got small ATEM, large
Yeah.
ATEM, small Stream Deck, large Stream Deck. You guys make sure that you
Yeah.
check that out. Anything you want to pass along to the audience, Danny? We're in 2022. Any vision casting? Anything you want to let people know and about this video thing? What
Mm,
you think's going to happen this year?
well, just keep in mind. So I like, I like to parallel things here. So, have you ever seen what happens when a dog says, when somebody says squirrel, and what a dog does? All right, there's a lot of people going to be hearing that word squirrel in a live stream. For those who get in early, you're going to be riding a pretty good wave, I think. And it has already been going, but this is not going away,
Mm-hmm.
not by any means. And if you look at Monty and look at what he's doing and think he's got a pretty good life, well, you're probably right. But you also want to listen to this guy because he does have a ton of information, and he's likable. He's got the whole package. So stay here, watch Monty. And if you're just, I mean, if this is 100 months later, whatever, and you're seeing this, you better subscribe because Monty's the man.
I appreciate you, Danny. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you check out Danny. Follow him on Facebook. Jump inside of these Blackmagic ATEM groups. That's where he likes to hang out and live. Make sure you leave a comment. And if you have an Xstreambay, make sure you guys tag him so he can check that out because I love seeing the pictures and I know he does too. You guys enjoy the rest of your evenings and we'll see you soon. Hey, if
Catch
you
you
guys
later.
enjoyed that video, make sure that you hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like that, make sure that you join me every single Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I go live on YouTube and I go live on Amazon Live. Sometimes we geek out on all kinds of tech products, and then other times I geek out with a special guest. So you don't want to miss any of those episodes when we go live. I'll see you in the next video.